It's Thursday night, and that means it's TruthBusters Live. Hello, everybody. I'm John Stewart, along with our producer, Nick London, and our pilot of this crazy plane, Q-Ball Carmichael, who we thought we weren't going to have today with us, but he made it to his hotel room, and we are a better show because of that. And I tell you, I mean, every week, this country, the topics, the information we get gets weirder and more explosive. And I think today is going to be a show in a moment in history that's off the charts. Of course, we're talking about which I like to call the election chaos of 2020. You don't have to play the national anthem when you watch the news. Just play either the Laurel and Hardy theme song or the Keystone Cops theme song. Throw in Little Rascals and Looney Tunes, because that's what it is. Hugh, before we get neck deep into this, am I right to think and assume, now look, I know it's COVID. I know there's a mass of mail-in ballots, but we can make a electronic trade in Wall Street in a nanosecond. Which you can make 7 trades in a second. We put a man on the moon. We have cars that don't need gas. I can watch the movie Slapshot from my iPhone in my car in a lake in Upper Michigan. But we can't count ballots faster. I've been in politics for 25 years. I could be stupid about this, but what say you on this? I mean, are we, it's like throwing rocks into a box. Like in 1425 medieval Europe. Go ahead.
Look, I'm going to say this. This is the home of Apple. This is the home of Microsoft. This is the home of Silicon Valley. And you tell me the best we can do for an election process is a piece of paper, a pen? Are you kidding me? What the?
Joanne, my wife said they handed her a marker with tape on it. It was dirty, and she goes into a cardboard little booth and what the fuck? Crazy.
I found out after I flew back in from Cleveland last Tuesday. I found out I got a job. I knew I was flying back out on this Tuesday this week. So Friday we went and voted early, and they gave us a pen and a brand new pen in plastic. Took it out, voted. I went over to hand to the lady. She's like, "Oh no, you keep that now. We don't want that back." So I know it was weird. It was different everywhere. But are you telling me that we still have to do it on a piece of paper and have a person count it?
Well, there's the fetish in the old school thinking, Q, where if we had to go back 40 years later, we want something on paper. I get that. But you could do the computer and a ticker tape comes out of your vote. I don't even mind the paper so bad. The fact is, you knew you were going to be with an onslaught of mail-in ballots. How could you not have? Somebody made a great point. You're terrified of someone knowing the pre-results. First of all, gives a shit. Second of all, put it in the state capital of every state with the master of arms of the Senate to look over the ballots. Let the most straight shooter in the electoral or Secretary of State come over, start feeding these things, a week, 2 weeks ahead of time, so that all of the mail-in ballots, as much as possible, are in. They're accounted for at 7:00 at night. Am I wrong?
You're exactly right. And with the balance of power, the way it stayed in the House and in the Senate, the balance of power, not a lot of things are going to change no matter who's president, really. Right now.
Good point.
But the big thing that really bothers me is that here you have millions of unsolicited ballots mailed out to addresses where people no longer live, to people that have died, and they're just sent out there hanging. And I don't know about you, but when I walked in to cast my vote, they said, "What's your name?" I told them. They said, "And you're at 105, blah, 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 blah." I said, "Yep." And they go, "Okay, go vote. No ID. No, nothing. Just I told them my name. They found it, and it wasn't even my voting station because I voted early. No proof. Nothing."
I had to show an ID, so Kudos for Lake County, Illinois.
Yeah, well, you know what? Good for them, because in North
Yeah.
Carolina, you didn't have to show nothing but up.
Yeah. Showed my ID, and then she showed it to another election judge. I signed the piece of paper, and they both looked at my signature and matched it to my voter registration. So kudos to Lake County, Illinois. Yeah, absolutely.
They just wanted your autograph because you ran for governor of the state of Illinois. That's all it was.
Well, so here's we have it. 264 Biden, 214 Trump, but the 264 is counting Arizona, and Arizona was called by Fox News. Are they now the Federal Election Commission? I mean, this is crazy. I mean, this is crazy.
Apparently, Tucker Carlson and Hannity are the only people there that have stayed a little to the right.
I mean, I know they want to give viewers away from MSNBC and CNN, but to call a race, and I want to get into this with you, Q, and get your opinion. Call a race that is, at the time they called it, there was 507,000 ballots still unaccounted for. I mean, come on. And the margin was only 88,000 between Trump and Biden. It's crazy. Well, crazy.
They statistically defined that the president could not receive 55% of the outstanding 1.5 million votes, which is bullshit. But that's their defense. Statistically, he couldn't have received more than 55% of that. That's
crazy. That's not true.
Who gets to make that one up as they go along? The Fox pollster?
You know, and I was a little pissed about them not calling Pennsylvania. At one time, Trump was up 600,000 votes. You know, my naivete, which shouldn't be after 25 years of running an office and stuff, was okay. I did not know that there was 600,000 votes left unaccounted for in Pennsylvania. So my bad. I get it. I get it. But what I don't get is the 2-3 days later in the most technologically advanced, the wealthiest country in the history of the world. And it's like I said, 1455, medieval Europe, and feudal servants or feudal landowners, Q-Ball and John Stewart are almost voting with rocks. I mean, it's just it's mind-boggling.
How do you count 8 million votes in one day, but it takes you 3 days to count the remaining 600,000?
Yeah, right. And then Nevada, they got up at 4:00 in the afternoon. They just left. I mean, it's the government, you know, because when you own your own business, you just don't say, 4:00, I'm done. Yeah. But with the government, and, you know, you shake the money tree every Friday, you think 4:00, they just most important presidential election ever. We're done. We'll come back tomorrow. Exactly. I mean, you don't have a cadre of people that take the late shift and then the morning shift and then I'm speechless. I mean, we're podcasters. I'm freaking speechless.
In their defense, they still deliver the mail on a horse. So,
right. 7 days a week we get the mail, and every time it's junk, coupons, weed eat, your lawn service, whatever.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So Trump is against the wall, no doubt about it. He wins Pennsylvania, Georgia, North Carolina. It really does come down to Nevada, I think Nevada has, what do we have at Showtime? Yeah, Nevada's still got 182,000 left. It's Arizona with 500,000 votes left where Trump can pull out. I'm going to get her name right. Christine Ung Hawthorne. She's a GOP person in Maricopa County, Arizona. She was on a show today and said that the 23rd congressional district, you can't win Arizona in a presidential race without winning the 23rd district. They did canvassing, which is actually going up to the person and asking them, you know, who did you vote for or whatnot. She said for Trump and Biden isn't even on the page. And she just cannot, we're going to hear from an operative in Arizona that's going to blow your mind. So it's called Sharpie Gate. You do not 7:40 or the second half of the hour, folks, turn the recording on. you're going to want to hear this. But she said that it's just overwhelming Trump. And so whoever is winning that district wins Arizona. So again, maybe she's not counting ballots precisely, but she was truthful. She's like, I cannot believe that Donald Trump isn't going to just sweep Maricopa County in the 23rd district. So you hear all these bits and pieces. I don't know if you heard these massive voting spikes all of a sudden.
Oh yeah,
people bringing in beer coolers full of ballots in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
I mean, what? How do you tell? I mean,
how does 100,000 votes all come in for one single person at a time?
Did you hear that one?
Yeah, without any going, not one or two going the other way. 100,000, and then some idiot says, "Well, we post in spikes." No, you don't. No, it's not how it works. I know you don't do that. You don't count all Biden put them in, then all Trump put them in, then all Biden. It doesn't work like that.
In one state or one county, folks, forgive me, one state, one county had 107% of voter turnout. How do you have 107%? I mean, do I think there's 100,000 ballot fraud going on? I don't know. But when you're bringing in beer coolers full of they've got it on video, showing up to the Arizona Convention Center, beer coolers full of ballots. Did you see that?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, I guess they're thirsty. Wait, those are ballots.
Yeah, I mean,
Joe Biden's thirsty. Well, here's a president that was under attack before the election with the fake Russian collusion.
Right.
All through his entire first 3.5 years with that. And then when they couldn't get him on that, they knew it was fake, all designed by Hillary, who deleted 33,000 emails from Russia. Can't get him that way. They decide to impeach him. Can't get him that way. So how are we going to get this guy we desperately hate so badly that we're willing to create fake Russian collusion and a fake impeachment trial? You can't get him out. How are we ever going to get him out? Well, we'll just, and look, for all fellow Democrats, here's the deal. One rigged ballot taints the entire system. 100 ballots taints the entire country of America.
It's a great point.
It's
a great point.
One taints everything. It doesn't take 1 million. It doesn't take 100,000. It takes a handful of forged ballots submitted by dead people, ballots submitted twice, ballots submitted by felons or illegals, and it taints the entire election process for the greatest country in the free world, which is the shame of it all.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely.
It wasn't bad enough. We talked about the stock market crash that happened the next day. We talked about COVID. You and your family got COVID, got over that. I'm surprised this year we were able to get a 3-part JFK assassination series in.
Do you believe that?
We've had to do a series. Something else has happened.
Right.
We had to go topical and cover it.
So true. How did we pull that off? My God.
That was
incredible.
That was a miracle.
Q, I want to talk to you also, too, before we have our first guest on. It's talk about it all day. The polling business in pollsters, they're done. I mean, that business is right. That business is the pollster business organization. That's done, right?
It's over. Yeah.
I mean, it's just they've called this so wrong that it's sad. That it's not. It's actually. I'm glad that is a great point. A lot of voters tell who they're voting for, suspicious, who takes a poll anyways in the middle of the day. Somebody that's on a floor, it's really not the true core of the nation. And I agree with that fully. We've got our first guest on. I wanted to introduce. I have known her since 1999. He is the former executive director of the Lake County, but more importantly, she was the. How do I put this? She was she was the hall monitor, and I don't like Chicago Times, Fox News, called the dirtiest primary congressional race in United States history, which I was a part of, along with 30 other opponents. We go live now to a great friend of mine, a incredibly intelligent person when it comes to all things politics, from Lake County, Illinois, Aunt Simone. And Aunt, are you there?
I am here, and you are way too kind, John Allen Stewart.
And, it's funny. I want to tell a story. When I withdrew from the race a month before the race was over, I withdrew. I couldn't get Jesse Ventura to come in and politics for me. I was running out of money. So I withdrew, a la Richard Nixon, my resignation letter in Aunt's office. She was like the who was Nixon's sidekick, Mr. President. Oh my God, I can't think of his name. No, the Secretary of State. The Jewish, the Jewish guy. I can't believe this. Aunt, who was that?
Yeah. Oh my God, and I went to see him speak. I absolutely love him.
Oh my.
Oh my God!
Oh
I got a book.
Henry Kissinger. Aunt was my Henry Kissinger, watching me sign my resignation paper. Nixon and Henry Kissinger, but I always remember that moment. Aunt, we've been talking about it for the first 15 minutes, whether it's the wrong polling, the missing ballots, the spikes in ballots. Can you? What's your take on this? Which I think is election chaos in this. It's like the 1850s, where it's taking 3 days to count ballots. How do you see what's going on right now? Give us your perspective.
Well, I will say this about Trump. And I'm going to ask people that are listening to, at some point in time, Roger, incredibly I Donald Trump was on Oprah's show. I want to say it was 1988.
It was
right around. And Oprah was trying to encourage him to run for president. And what he I'm not going to he needs me. Donald Trump is the everyday people taken over as the party of the Democrats. We someday will become. What I was advising him is, it's bizarre that you need a 3-day extension to get your ballot. I mean, you've got voting, you've got mail-in voting. I mean, for God's sake, do you need mail-in?
I mean, the cutoff day is we vote on this, the first Tuesday of November. You don't get to vote that following Wednesday. Oh, if you missed it, come in on Friday. It's a specific date.
Right, exactly. It's crazy. It's crazy. So I will say this. If I were him, I would say, in order to protect the integrity of in our Constitution and what our founding fathers thought about, which is one man, one vote. So that means that those of us that are scared of being arrested for vote fraud, we vote once. We don't vote for our dead and anybody else. So, but get to the bottom of it, and if he finds that, you know what, he's not fair and square, I think he's sure that he at least scares the bejeebers out of another side, so that perhaps we don't do it again. would get busted, but I don't know.
Do you think he's got? Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
ahead. I think he's fighting so that this process, what's taking place right now, does franchise no matter what. Even if we go out to vote, it doesn't really matter.
Right. Good point.
That's
Really.
From the beginning, we are people are now voting. No, they
A month. And,
right.
and most of the educated master's degree education leaving the state. Yeah, that is awesome. People are voting with their feet in Illinois. Love that. Love that.
And even though, I mean, county out of Illinois, but we can't do that.
My daughter's like, Daddy, I'm looking at a lot of the states, and they're all red, but why is Trump winning those states? And explain to her, like you just said, with Illinois, it's all Chicago.
Right.
You know, New York City, New York, it's all New York City.
Right.
But yeah, Pennsylvania, it's Pittsburgh and Philly. I mean, it's just crazy.
Hey,
Go ahead, Ant. This is Q. Go ahead, Q.
I'm John's broadcast partner, friend from India. I think I say one thing. Just leave a couple of I think the is now it's a complete change. Republican and Democratic.
No, I agree with you. I mean, I really think that Democrats, they've always been the part interview. They want all of us. They want all of us. It's always with the public three. You know, there's a great clip Bob Hope about you know
The movie is
so basically there's a scene you know guy says, oh yeah, around struck in like crazy.
It's a great line.
I guess, you know, at my age, I'm in my 60s now. I mean, not just my, I'm through our blood. It's something always a generation away from losing it.
Yeah. And if Donald Trump does, then he plans. What would you tell him if he was listening? And what would you tell him to do in a lame duck session? Is it vengeance? You know, get a new attorney general to start going after Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, or what? You know, what does he do in the last 2 months?
I would definitely not recommend vengeance. You know, you've got to. I believe in humility. I believe in peace. I believe in each other. We're extremely divided right now. That's a wonderful people that
Sure.
just may not have all the facts. There are young people that vote Democrat because they're young and, it's a process. The more you learn, it's when they get their first job and they learn. Yeah, but we're paying like $1,100 every 2 weeks.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's paid.
Yeah.
So my recommendation would be to work with that crazy Nancy and Mitch McConnell and put together a plan to help us through the next few months economically. For taking a chance. But that's why my parents came here from Italy.
Right.
I mean, Italy's not a third world country, but they came in the 50s because they wanted better life for their kids.
Right.
People don't come here to scam us. People want to come here because this is the greatest, freest country on earth.
True.
And that's the Cubans and the Venezuelans and a lot of the Latinos that had family.
Yeah. Trump. What did he specifically do? Trump. What did Trump specifically do to pick up this demographic?
Well,
Yeah.
Well, I think a few things happened. I the college that proponents against the Antifa and BLM rioting were actually the Hispanic Americans and the Black Americans, and Trump sided with them, and by default, because nothing was being done in democratic cities, the Hispanics and the non-BLM automatically decided Trump. Basically, a lot of them by default. I mean, the lowest pre-COVID. What happened if somebody else would have been in charge of this COVID? There'd be 2 million people dead.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
Absolutely right. All right, we're going to go to break. Ant, thank you so much for being a guest.
You're very welcome.
Your contribution was greatly appreciated. And
nice to meet you.
You
okay.
Too.
You have a good night.
Okay, we're going to go to a break, pay some bills. We'll be right back. It's TruthBusters Live Thursday edition. Stay with us, everybody. back, TruthBusters live Thursday night. Wow, we're talking about the whole craziness of the presidential election. Q, before we get to our next guest, and folks, I'm telling you, we don't hype things. Stay with us because our guest from the bunker in Arizona, you're not going to believe what he's going to tell us. But Q, people from out of the Ayatollah Khomeini from Iran said yesterday, what a joke this is. Other
We're laughing
heads of state, yeah, just completely laughing at this process. I don't blame them. If I was looking on from this, I would, again, be playing the Looney Tune music. Q, we out of 350 million people, we have, for the Democrats, picked a stage 2 dementia plagiarizer, 47 years done. Well, he is plagiarized in law school, complete liar, says he get a ban for fracking on video, says in the debates he never said that. 77, 78 years old, doesn't even know where he is, doesn't know which one of his kids he's talking about. You've got literally, I have a degree in counseling psychology. I've said this a million times. You literally have a crazy person running the House of Representatives, Nancy Pelosi. She's mashugna, as my Jewish friends would. She's mashugna, neurotic, bitter, ditzy.
The grand scheme of the election, John.
Go ahead. Tell me. Get me out of this.
The grand scheme of the election was to get a Biden win so he can pardon Hillary. He'll step down in 12 months. Kamala will become president, and she'll pardon him. And then they're all free.
I could not. If folks, you want to laugh? If I would have told you 2 years ago that billionaires, high-profile politicians, and rulers of the world fly to an island and have sex with young girls, you'd have called me nuts. So don't call Q and I nuts. What he's just told you is right. This panic, this evangelical affiliation of getting Trump out and Biden in is there because they're running for their lives. I mean, you've got people running scared of indictments, of jail time, of scandal. And Q's right. Joe Biden, get the senile old Joe in who will go along with the plan, Q, pardon everybody, resign. And now you got a black female president, which, is the cherry on the political ice cream cone of the Democratic Party.
And if I'm Donald Trump, you know what I do? The first thing I do is announce my re-election campaign for 2024, and I start pushing it, and I send a copy of Dinesh D'Souza's Trump card to every single American.
Yeah.
And say, you got what you asked for.
Yeah, they're calling for Trump. There was stories today, Q. Funny you said that, where people are saying if he doesn't win, he's got another term and he's allowed to run for one more term. And 2024 is a lot closer than people think. Wouldn't that be? Can you imagine? He concedes, Joe Biden takes office, and the next day he steals his thunder, and Trump announces his campaign for presidency 2024. I mean, the place would go mad, right?
I would so do it, and I would campaign for every Republican congresswoman and man alive, get him in the House.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And we said it last. I said it last week, Q, and I want to. People are involved for good and bad. They are involved. Female Democrats and GOP were sending an onslaught of females to Washington, which I think female politicians are way better than male politicians. But that's my opinion. So there are some bright spots in this. And, Abraham Lincoln's most private, secretive fear was an autocratic government, which is, a government where the people say, I'm going to sit on the couch and watch Jeopardy. Go do what you got to do. Leave me alone. And President Lincoln, we don't have an autocratic. We don't have an electorate that's not involved this time.
Did he actually say watch Jeopardy?
No, but I threw that in. What would it be in 1865? Okay. Anyways, folks, we are now going to go to our next guest. His name is John, and he is a GOP on the ground. I would call him an operative because he is collecting information and has what I think is his finger on the pulse of what's going on with politics, especially in Arizona. Talk about this Sharpie. You will find one person out Arizona with John Hanna. John, how you doing, sir?
Good, John. How are you guys?
I'm doing well. Joining us is Hugh, our and the pilot of this crazy podcast. So, John, tell us.
Hey, John.
John, before we get into Sharpie, tell us what you told me of the story about the 96-mile caravan of Trump supporters, the mood right before the election in Arizona, in Phoenix, of just an onslaught of Trump supporters. Go ahead and tell us that story.
Yeah, so when we were watching the election live on Fox News, and an hour and a half after they closed the poll, and with 74% reporting, they call it for Joe Biden. Everybody in our room just had a non-sanctioned, unsponsored, spontaneous parade occurred.
Did you hear that? 96 miles.
In Maricopa County. Yeah, in Maricopa County by itself. And President Trump spoke about it. He said it was 100 miles, which was, reports are 96 to 100. Right. But it was massive. And this is there's in the water. Every marina you go to, Trump flags everywhere. They have standing parades weekend after weekend all throughout the city, through Maricopa County, through Pima County. These are allegedly blue. Through Tempe.
Sure.
How come I had the Can-Am, those dirt cars, got Trump flags, everything. And everywhere we drove around the town, people thumbs up, giving hundreds of people so excited. We had 3 people. That was it. I drive around town all over the place. I do estimating for my business.
Right.
And we do have a demolition contractor. So I'm all the houses. Like you do see 100 feet. So it's like 3% you see Biden. Everybody I know here in Phoenix, and everybody. That's impossible.
Well, when they called it with 73% in, do you recall how many on was it 600,000? No.
40.
Oh my God.
How is that possible? Possibly trying to get one over on the American people and lie about what you're doing. But it is improbable that would be the case.
Right. So talk to us now about how you.
So how I came about was post on Facebook about a woman in the Queen Creek area. She's wearing a green sweater. You can go YouTube it. You'll find the clip. It's about 2.5 minutes long. she was sharing her experience. Hey, when I went to the polls, they gave us Sharpies. Normally we use ink pens. We used it. It bled through the people at the polls, and it top of the rest of the life. And right, say okay. So people just throwing him into the box with with it for the Biden. This is not a it says use black or blue ink only. You're mailing down the Maricopa County Recorder's Office. It specifically states in plain words, do not use Sharpie type pens.
Okay.
And they were passing out Sharpie pens in all the predominantly Republican areas. Once that thing was posted on my Facebook, I had a flurry of messages and people contacting me saying, hey,
Crazy.
I use the Sharpie. What's that?
No, I'm sorry. I'm reacting to your story. This is crazy.
It's crazy. Well, it gets even better.
Gets me pissed off. Go ahead. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, it's insane. So people started responding to me saying, hey, I used the Sharpie. I had a similar experience. And we told them it was bleeding through, but they said it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. And I asked them, did you see a red light or green light? I said, why wasn't some of them said I was paying a red light? And I said, threw it in the box. I go, well, then yours not get counted. I said, but don't worry. Go to the Maricopa. It's called Maricopa. You can see what your ballot was counted or not. Now, I person use an ink pen. It's counted on the Maricopa. Right. All the people that told me that they got a Sharpie, they checked their ballot.
Oh, they got to take screenshots. Some of them got because they want proof of cheating. You've got it. Go ahead.
There's more. Well, there's more to the story. I'm not even done yet. How deep this goes? Because remember, I didn't know anything about this. I saw a woman on YouTube. I just posted the video.
Right.
So, it's 3 years. Fatter Sharpie. It's a little bit thicker, but it's 3 years old. I take out my ballot. I put a PP in it. I video my roll. You just go in and have it just a little right through into the other piece and validate the ballot completely. Now, I go and post that on Facebook, and come from these are perfectly to you up. I'm like,
sure they are.
Yeah. I have a picture. Do not use a Sharpie type pen. So you have two things happening in the Republican area handing Sharpies. That tells it's okay to use Sharpies. For being invalid that use Sharpies, and in the booklet it says you can't use Sharpies. So listen, every day hard trying to they don't
no.
I stuff.
Right, not at the top of my ballot. I just and it's scary.
The funny thing is, I didn't get my ballot.
Mood. What? Do you have a question? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, John obviously has his finger on the pulse of everything that's happening in the great state of Maricopa County. Whether that is a red wave and why is it showing up blue? And this is a perfect explanation. Register state go on or fine. When really perfectly fine, it would say on the top of the ballot that they're perfectly fine not to use them.
Right.
Oh,
Exactly.
And guys, I'll be more than happy to send you my videos and send you my pictures of all what I say, because I don't say things and don't back it up with proof.
No,
I have my video that I made. I had some people come to me and say, "Oh, look at the Sharpie you're using, and you say this." And I'm like, you go on that you think and let's try it yourself.
Right.
Nobody's taking me on my challenge yet.
Right.
Every single of them lead to a problem. You know, what's worse is an option.
Wow.
That's unbelievable. What is the, John? We've been in post pre-production and now on the air for almost an hour. So in the past couple, 2, 3, 4 hours, what can you give us a status of what's going on? What's on the radio there? You see what, you know, what is the, basically what's the, you know, what's the situation right now?
Out to the grocery store today. I've been out talking to people on, Facebook. People calling me throughout the day,
Right.
listening to, radio stations locally, and I'll tell you right now, everybody is absolutely here.
That's
they are
ridiculous.
furious with what the recorder's doing, because I know and this is happening throughout the nation. This is happening in Georgia, Arizona, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Detroit. Now, here we got some more stories from you about Detroit. And I keep around reporting. Arizona, people are absolutely disgusted. As you know, you gotta have you go to, like you have a small fraud is absolutely absurd. I talked to one person today. Not we the people stand up and
It's like with brain surgeon or posters to recognize the fact that college when like you said with the flags, parades, there's not rock figure out. Tell quick.
In 2018, I did not see this level of support for or anywhere, not even close.
Yeah.
What I see from there is it's 4 times the support. So anyway, I can talk your ears off, gentlemen.
No, before we were getting short on time here, tell us about Detroit too, because there's another. John, we were talking about it a while ago. My youngest daughter said, "Daddy, why are all these states so red, but Trump's not winning?" And I had to explain, a lot of these states like Illinois, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Democrats.
So I have some friends of mine that are involved with poll watching in the city of Detroit. A young lady by the name of Amy Azzo, and she's videotaping what's happening in Detroit in Cobo Hall, which is downtown. It's called something else now, but anyway, it's downtown. They have ringed up the police around the building. Now this place is a convention center, so 400. police. They will not let a single Republican in. And they ask, why can't they come in? And they say that the police say, we don't have an answer for you, but they won't let them in. So they were able to penetrate, warned off, and said that they couldn't be with the pollsters because of health concerns. The governor came in and gave a mandate that because of the health concerns, those guys have to be pushed out. They had 300 inside. They said, okay, well, letting 150 Republicans, they refused. There was another poll who they were, they would take the polling machines and they would where they couldn't see what was going on. That's how big it is. On top of 130,000 ballots at 3 o'clock in the morning show up at this convention center.
We were talking about this, John. Yeah,
it goes 100%, 130,000 ballots, 100% Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Candace Owens, Candace Owens put a nice graph up of how they're tracking in Missouri, and boom, they just spiked like that. Well, there's video of a guy coming in with a wagon. Once the polling place is closed, a red wagon.
That hurts. Go ahead.
I mean, their directives to
Say that again. Quick.
Project Veritas. Everybody knows who they are.
Sure.
Project Veritas took this man's testimony and an affidavit. They turned it over to the postmaster got involved. They did the facility. All other postal workers come throughout the state of Michigan that were in the same directive, that any ballots that they received that were late, to bring them in, and they would backdate it, which is, as you know, illegal. Wow. This is happening in Michigan right now. This is on mainstream media being reported with Sean Hannity and these things.
Just incredible.
This is not small stuff. This is big stuff. This is big fraud. These are big players involved. And as you know, when the FBI comes involved, hey, it's going to be some answers need to be paid.
Yeah, absolutely. John, we're running out of time here. I wanted to, people told me you were going to be a great guest. You have far exceeded my expectations. Thank you so much for your interesting and perceptive. Thanks again for.
Yep.
Goodbye. How about? You're not letting Republicans in to help count the votes. In different states. Now in Michigan and now in Arizona. This is crazy.
Traverse City, where Trump just had a massive rally. This is crazy.
Do you think this is going to go on for weeks, Q?
Months.
Yeah.
This is going all the way to the Supreme Court. And if the FBI is involved, it could go on. We could set on the incumbent president until the election is 100% cleared. We could see President Trump in office until easily May or June of next year.
Now, you know that for a fact. I did not know that legally. He could be until he is.
If there is voter fraud, there'll be a complete investigation.
Right.
And by federal authorities, Department of Justice will get involved, the FBI will get involved, the postmaster will get involved. And what they'll do is the election will be officially on hold until these things are cleared up and a winner can be declared. And it will be sometime in 2020, long after Inauguration Day is clear and gone by.
Yeah. Q, it scares me because John says the same thing in Arizona that folks, I'm in Wisconsin 3 times a week, right by Milwaukee. We have a summer home in Upper Michigan. That's all you saw for 9 months was Trump banners, Trump signs on farm fields, on trucks, bumper stickers. But I mean, it's everywhere. And then you see a little Biden sign. So
I saw that 96 mile.
Oh, did you?
Parade.
Yeah.
It was all over TikTok, and it was just incredible. I mean, it was mind-boggling. And the boats, like he said, the massive lakes out in Arizona, Havasu and lakes like that, you couldn't see the water from the boats, and all the boats were covered in Trump flags. It was incredible. And yet he loses predominantly red county of Maricopa County. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So you think this is going to go? You think this is going to go into next year? You're making that prediction.
And what did we say at the top of the hour? Right. Look, whoever wins wins, but
Absolutely.
You got to win fairly, because one tainted vote taints America.
You're right.
And now it appears there are literally tens of thousands of votes that were disqualified because they're for Trump. I mean, it doesn't take a genius in a Republican county to hand out a Sharpie and make all the voters' votes invalid. It's a simple scheme.
Right. Q, I don't remember where she did after my ballot was scanned, what they did with it. So putting it into a box, I would think, well, that's where you put the ballots that are.
Well, I saw mine go.
I wouldn't know.
Here in North Carolina,
I run for Congress and governor. I don't know.
Here in North Carolina,
what they do with that.
They're very poor about IDing you, but they're very good about you walk your vote over and you put it in the machine.
Okay.
And the machine scans it and you see the green or the red light.
Okay.
And I saw a green light on mine and my wife saw one on hers.
Right.
But we're able to see that. So if there's a mistake on the ballot, they'll actually give it to us to correct. So in the small polling stations in the very rural area, I live now.
Sure.
I'm currently residing for 12 more days in the city of Cleveland.
Well, we hope that goes well. And if there's any writing there,
Hey, I'm staying inside.
Stay inside.
You know that.
So,
great show.
We'll give it. Yeah, it was a great show, great guests, and I hope for the country that there is, whoever wins, there is a smooth transition. But I don't think I have any ammunition to repudiate what you said, that this might go into next year in months and through the courts. And when you hear that story, one guy, one explosive story with video, how do you not say, hey, recount, FBI, question everything. The gloves are off, question everything.
And, I don't want to be confusing when we had John on the phone with you, John, and mentioned another guy, Jonathan Turley, who is on Fox a lot. He's the George Washington University head of the law department, law professor.
Okay. Right.
And he said that this is the most disturbing election in the history of elections. And he is exactly right. Very disturbing.
I'll tell you one thing Congress needs to do next year when they're in their first session. I know we did it after the Bush versus Gore fiasco, but folks, obviously we need a little bit of a reset. We need a little bit more massaging of the actual counting of the ballot process. And I'm man enough to say I don't know specifically what that would be or what that would look like.
Well,
I do know that in America in 2020, counting ballots 3 days later is freaking ridiculous.
We have a clear example with Rick DeSantis, the governor of Florida. Florida was the whole 2020 or 2000 election, right? Rick DeSantis comes into governor. He fires two people in Miami-Dade County who were in charge of the elections who he knew were corrupt. All of a sudden, Florida is the epitome of a perfect election counted that night. All we have to do is copy Florida's model and we'll be fine.
That's a great point.
Egos get in the way. But Florida has also a perfect electoral process.
Yeah. And it's my biggest critique of people inside government. There is no urgency and there's no foresight. John Stewart, Q-Ball Carmichael, working in the voter registrar's office in any state, knowing that there's going to be a massive influx of mail-in ballots because of COVID and people not wanting to show up. Aren't you going to go to the governor, the lieutenant governor of the state, call for a special session and say, we have this situation we think is going to happen. What can we do to count these votes. So on the election day at 7 o'clock at night, we know what the mail-in ballots were. That's what we should have done.
Florida did.
Just like Florida.
Did.
Absolutely. Hey, great show. Nick London, thank you, our producer in New Brunswick, Canada. Thank you, Ann Simone, and our guest, Steve Gilgorovic, one of our producers in Arizona, for getting John Hanna for us. Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. What a great guest. We will be back next week to tell you where we're at. Hopefully we have a president. Maybe we won't. This could go for months, as Q said. For Q Ball Carmichael, I'm John Stewart. This is TruthBusters Live. Remember, every Thursday night, we're bringing you the truth, not their truth. So long, everybody.
Good night. God bless.